I got harassed.
She got verbally accosted like I did in California.
Yes, I
She
did.
did in Connecticut.
And we're walking by a gas station, and there's this car that's about to turn out of the gas station. And we looked at the road. She was not going to be able to turn before we were walking in front of her. So we walked in front of her instead of walking behind her. And I looked into her car. That was a mistake. And she rolled down her window and she said, "Go to church." And of course, when I returned to the bathroom, Sadie's like, "Oh my God, Jenna, come on, look." And she points at the stage. I come back and I look on stage, and what do you know who's on there? Derek is on stage. He's the lone dream rider on stage. And next thing you know, all these other dream riders start joining him on stage. And eventually there's like 30 to 40 of them on stage.
So these dream riders were so excited, and you could just see the joy on every single one of their faces, and it overwhelmed me. By the halfway through the thing, I'm literally standing there just in tears because I was just so happy about what had happened for him and all of these other people, and how the joy that all of these people had was just completely overwhelmed me. It was amazing.
All right. Welcome back to Baker's Bakery Part 2. We got a lot more to talk about our fun trip.
Yes, we do have a lot more of our trip to talk about, and we are so excited to share it with you. Again, we have got to give a shout out to the Hometown Foundation. The Dream Ride experience was unlike
amazing.
Anything I've ever experienced before. It's absolutely incredible. The amount of friends we made, the people from all around the world. It was just the coolest thing. And we spent Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, actually Wednesday through Sunday, we spent the night in Connecticut. And our first day in Connecticut, we woke up and we took a bus trip up to Boston. It was about little less than 2 hours to get from our hotel to Boston. And it was funny because earlier in the week, Mom heard one of the international folks talking about the day we went to Boston. And what did they say?
They said, "I don't know. I think we're going to California or something."
Hang on.
That's not going to happen in a day.
So yeah, it was really funny because Mom heard the guests say that maybe we were going to California, which obviously was not a bus trip away from New York City.
Day trip.
Certainly not.
A day trip from Connecticut to California.
On a bus. Absolutely not. So
someone's got their geography a little messed up.
Yeah, well, they're from a different
from
country. I get it.
Around.
So, but it was funny for us to overhear it. So we did take a bus ride up. We immediately got on a very large boat for the cruise lunch. There was a buffet lunch, and they actually got on two. It was
cool, but by the way,
it was cool.
It was cool.
Derek wouldn't go to the top deck with us, but Mom and I.
He got very nervous about railings in Boston. Didn't want to stand next to the railing and take a picture by the water. Didn't want to get off the boat was an interior place where we ate, but then you could go up on the decks, which were outside,
and see the cool view of Boston.
He wanted no part of that.
No, he's like, I don't do railings.
Part of it.
So I guess it's a good thing we decided to sit out the second boat, because he really wouldn't have liked that one, probably.
Yeah.
I have to know. Did you see the Tipton Hotel?
We did not see it.
Do we think the Tipton Hotel actually exists, or do we think it was just made up?
No. Yes.
No,
made
I
up.
think it was.
No, we did not see Jesse in New York, and we did not see the Tipton Hotel in Boston. So that is a bummer for us. But we did have lunch on the cruise boat, but we had decided already the second activity in Boston that was planned by the trip was the duck boats. And Mom and I get very nauseous, and we don't do well on smaller boats. And we had already asked for permission to sit out of the duck boats. And because we were in Boston, Mom was very insistent that she got her
fried clams.
Yes. So we determined that after the lunch, we were going to get another lunch, and we were going to find some fried clams, and I wanted some lobster. And so we didn't eat very much at the buffet.
We
on
just
the
really
boat.
had a salad and a little taste of the other things.
Yeah, we just had a little bit to.
It was pretty good.
So that we wouldn't be starving
Boston.
by the time we got to our late lunch. And I then was looking for. I did realize that there was a Zara in Boston, because we had driven past the Zara in New York, and I got so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to go to the Zara. We didn't make it there in New York.
No time.
So when we had some downtime in Boston, I was like, I want to go to Zara. So I found a place that had fried clams near the Zara that we could walk to after lunch. And I did actually see somebody I knew that followed this place on Instagram. So I reached out and asked them if it was good. And they're like, yeah, it's so good. We go there all the time. You must go. So we went. Oh my goodness, Katie, this pasta I had was mouth-watering. Just even talking about it right now is making my mouth water. Summertime lobster pasta is what it was called. It had corn. It had tomatoes. It had chunks of lobster. Amazing. It had these amazing homemade noodles. It was chef's kiss. Derek, what did you have?
I have clam chowder.
Derek had clam chowder, and Mom got her
fried clams.
Yes.
They were delish.
It was delicious. Delicious. Got to backtrack a little bit. Hilarious moment on the boat. So there was a dance party after lunch on the boat, and Abby, my goodness, that girl likes to dance. So she hit that dance floor and never came back until all of a sudden she came back. And we were very surprised because Sadie said she's going to be out there the whole time. And she came back and she sat down, and Sadie said, what's wrong? You didn't want to keep dancing? And she said, well, I don't know Spanish.
And the song was speaking Spanish.
And she didn't know it. So she left.
Okay.
Hilarious.
How you don't know Spanish?
Well, she didn't know Spanish. So she left.
I sing Who Says by Selena Gomez in Spanish.
There you go. And then
I know the words to Who Says. And I do a little bit of Spanish. So I'm pretty good at Spanish right now.
So then the song finished, and I think maybe one other song played, and then she got up and she went back out to the dance floor.
It was hysterical.
Hey, when she's vibing, she's vibing. When she ain't, she ain't.
So funny. So we did go to the Salty Girl is where we went to lunch. It was absolutely delicious. We did walk over to the Zara after that.
The Salty Girl or the Salty Grill?
The Salty Girl is what it was called. We sat outside. It was a lovely day in Boston. Best weather of the whole trip was the day we spent in Boston. Then we walked to
nothing
Zara.
at all like today?
No, it was it was amazing. It was perfect. Sunny and 75. Sat on the patio. It was shaded. Yep. It was beautiful. It was lovely.
And why after live they would do Zara would you have a little bit deja vu? What the place we actually have the little breakdown all the way to
when you and Dad and I were there, and we were when we got dropped off after Zara back at, or actually it was before
we went to lunch.
Before we got our Uber, I realized we were in the exact spot where your dad and Derek and I sat in the van with the flat tire in May.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So we walked to Zara. We were in an adorable neighborhood. Apparently Lauren Baker used to live there. Absolutely adorable. We went into Zara, and I realized why I liked Zara so much in Europe. And that's because it's significantly cheaper in Europe. And in the States, it says US, and everything's about $15 more expensive than the UK price. And I was like, I remember why I thought this was so cool in Spain. And it's not nearly as cool when you're on the opposite end of that. So we bought nothing, and we left. And we did get another Uber. We got back over to the water. We were having dinner at this place called Joe's Waterfront.
The most delicious meal we had with a group.
Yes, it was
unreal.
So good.
Yep.
It was also family style, but it was like the opposite of Carmine's. Like Carmine's gave us way too much, and this place gave us
more so just the salad. They gave
us
like,
it was so confusing.
Like this Caesar salad that was literally about this big
it looked like a side salad, like for one that a normal restaurant would serve to one person.
And we did, the 5 of us shared it because at the time there was only 5 of us at the table.
But the table was seated for 8.
Yeah, and there's just like it was not. We all had a tiny
but
taste.
It was weird. I don't really know what happened, but luckily Sadie and Abby's group got back first, so they were there, and we went and we got there and we sat down with Sadie and Abby. But the rest of the group, I don't know what happened, but they got there like almost an hour after us.
And by then, all the courses had been served.
And unfortunately, they wouldn't reserve some of them.
Yeah.
So the second wave of our group, like they only got like 70% of what the rest of us got.
Yeah, it was
choices wise. I'm sure they were able to eat enough because some of the entree dishes they would refill if you ran out, but the salads they wouldn't refill, which made no sense because the Caesar salad was absolutely tiny. But
anyway.
It was delicious. But unfortunately, we ate it all. And
we had calamari and salad. We had shrimp.
Oh my God, Derek almost died. Derek and I ate fried jalapenos, and
they were hot.
Derek was his eyes were like watering.
Derek, was the fried jalapenos more spicy or less spicy than that spicy cheese you had at the cabin when you thought you were dying?
Oh, I don't know. It was
worse in that, Katie.
He downed 2 waters faster than I've ever seen him drink 2 waters.
Wow.
But then they also served us chicken pasta, like chicken Alfredo. It was so good. That was the highlight, was the pasta. The steak, mashed potatoes, and green beans. It was unreal.
And salmon.
Oh, and
you just
salmon.
didn't eat salmon.
Yeah, and then
Speaking of salmon,
then we had dessert.
The salmon at Carmine's was the best thing they served. It was Parmesan encrusted salmon. It was so freaking good. Okay.
What?
Back to Boston.
What was the dessert?
The dessert was
carrot cake,
little
carrot
square
cakes.
Carrot cakes. They were very good. They did sit with some. Once the rest of the table filled up, there were some folks from El Salvador. I didn't get to talk to them much. Mom did.
I did. I had a lovely conversation with the gal who appeared to be kind of in charge,
and the translator.
And then there was a young man with Down syndrome and his chaperone, and neither of them really spoke very good English, so she kind of translated, and we had a little discussion. So.
Yeah. And
but
so
it was really
we had
nice
already
to
finished our
visit
dinner.
with them.
Sadie and I left, and we walked over to the marketplace, which was very close, which was the same marketplace that we went to when we were in Boston that we met Dylan Kuntz at.
Mm-hmm.
And Sadie and I walked over there. We got some pins. Sadie got a sweatshirt. We got to walk around Boston a little bit, which she was really excited about because at that point she had been on boats all day. She hadn't actually gotten to see the city at all. So she was excited to walk around. But Sadie was a little disappointed because she was really hoping to get a lobster roll in Boston, and she didn't get a lobster roll. But we'll come back to that. So then we got back on the bus. We got home. We went to bed. And on Friday, we woke up. Derek set a new record on the CPAP machine. Round of applause
over
for that.
8 hours.
8.11 hours. What a rock
8
star.
8 hours, 11 minutes.
Amazing.
Well, get ready because that is going to happen in 2025 when I get ditched that alarm.
Yeah, I don't know. He has an alarm on his phone that tells him to take the CPAP mask off in the middle of the night.
It's at 7 a.m.
For
Why does he do
7 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know why.
Not at night.
Why does he do that?
I don't know. Anyway,
no
move
sense.
on.
Anyways, so then Mom and I walked to Target and we got some stuff so that we could have breakfast in the room and so that we could have some caffeine. And I got harassed.
She got verbally accosted like I did in California.
Yes, I did.
She did in Connecticut.
It was luckily not nearly as long as Mom's verbal attack. But we were walking, and the first man I accidentally made eye contact with was giving us the most horrible look. And I was trying not to look at him, but I could see that he was still staring at us. And he was just giving us this horrible, horrible look. I don't know if he thought we were hideous or if he couldn't believe that we were walking down the street.
It was very weird.
It was just so strange, this horrible look he was giving us. And then that was at the light. We keep walking a little bit and we're walking by a gas station and there's this car that's about to turn out of the gas station. And we looked at the road. She was not going to be able to turn before we were walking in front of her. So we walked in front of her instead of walking behind her. And I looked into her car. That was a mistake. And I made eye contact with her. That was a mistake. And I gave her a little smile and like a head nod acknowledgement, whatever. That was a mistake. And she rolled down her window. She was kind of scary looking. Okay.
Very scary. Had tats all over her face.
Yes. And she rolled down her window and she said, "Go to church, bitch." I was like,
we're like, what? And
were you dressed like a whore?
No. She had on leggings. And
full length leggings.
and a shirt like this, only sleeveless. but not
My
like
belly wasn't even out.
Yeah, not in a sports bra or anything. Like it was just a sleeveless tank.
It was an athletic shirt.
It was so bizarre. But what's interesting is we were telling Sadie this, and Sadie had walked to
Starbucks, the opposite direction.
The opposite direction. She got honked at a couple times and had some man glaring at her. And so I'm like, is it illegal to walk on the streets of this town? I don't know.
It was bizarre.
It was so bizarre.
Go to church, bitch is hilarious.
Yeah.
How about you go to church, bitch?
I was like,
well, that's what I was thinking, but
I was like,
kept
well,
my
I-
mouth shut because I was afraid.
I was like, well, I do, but it sounds like you need it more than me.
Bless the Lord God. Bitch.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
Damn, that lady knows that Jenna's been out.
Yeah. So that was.
It has been a few weeks.
That
She
was-
needs to get back in on her Sunday mornings.
I know, that was interesting. It was wild. So then we went to the movies. Oh my goodness.
so fun. Harold and the Purple Crayon. It was so fun.
Hilarious.
The movie was
Apparently
so
it's a
fun.
I
book.
make a TikTok out of that.
Was this part of the itinerary?
Yeah, apparently.
I
Originally,
make a TikTok
Is this a new movie?
for that.
Apparently we were supposed to have a pool party that afternoon, but the pool party wasn't going to work out, so they switched it last minute to Harold and the Purple Crayon. And Sadie said that she actually read the book as a kid.
Yeah. It was
And
I've never heard
based
of
on a
that.
children's
I had
book.
never
It
heard of
was
it,
so
but
fun.
Is it animated?
No.
No. It was
Well, there.
they
No.
start- it was kind of like
it was
it was kind of like
animated-
Rapunzel. Or not Rapunzel,
Yeah.
Tangled. It starts animated and then they go into the world. Enchanted. That's what I'm thinking
Yeah,
of.
it starts animated and they go
into the real world. That's what
I was
happens.
gonna say Tangled is animated, bro.
I know. I knew I was.
It
not
was so
right.
fun though. The movie was so fun.
It was
and
hilarious.
Carla and Kayla came with us, and they are the best hostess. The hostess with the mostest.
So then, okay, this was so funny. During the movie,
They're not
there was
hocus pocus, Mom.
I
there
didn't
was
say
these
that.
police officers, okay, during the movie that are like kind of going after the main characters for something, and the one police officer says to the other, "You gotta humor the crazies." And Mom laughed so loud, and she also spoke so loud, and she goes, "I know all about that." And I was like,
You should
"Mom."
not talk to the movie.
I'm sorry.
And I
yes,
like
that was
whispered
loud.
to her, I'm like, "Mom, that was so loud." And she's like, "Oh, sorry." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And mind you, like, we're in this theater with only our group.
Yeah. Well,
So they all heard her say, "Oh, I know all about that." And I'm like, "Mom, shut up.
sorry.
What are you doing?"
Sorry,
but
sorry.
it was
Anyway.
very cute. It was hilarious. It had Derek cackling out loud multiple times.
It was a super fun movie.
It was very, very good. So then we went back to the hotel. We got
That-
ready.
Raccoon, like,
Yes.
absolutely hysterical.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Rac-
I think Moose was my favorite character.
Well, mine is doing the raccoon.
It wasn't a
Yeah.
raccoon. It was a porcupine.
It was a porcupine. You're right. I knew that didn't sound right.
Right. Porcupine
Get it together,
And-
Derek.
and Harold.
Yeah, it was
super
very
fun.
cute. So then we went back and then we got ready for Dream Night 1. And this event, we're pulling up. It's like, this might be an exaggeration, but also like, you tell me what you think. It's like potentially bigger than like the Missouri State Fair.
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen the Missouri State Fair, but it was huge.
Huge. I've never seen an event so large. We're pulling up and it's just like acres upon acres upon acres of tents and stuff and buses and cars and cameras.
Stables.
And it was just unbelievable. So we got dropped off at the stables. It is the Farmington Polo Club where this event is held. So there's an entire polo field, which is
Huge.
massive. Like you could if you told me it was the same size as a football field, I believe you. It was massive.
I think it was bigger than a football field.
Oh,
It was
really?
definitely wider. For
Maybe
sure,
wider,
it was wider.
for sure. Yeah, huge field, and that was only part of the grounds. And there's all these cars. So Friday night there was a polo match. And Saturday was the Dream Ride experience. They support people with disabilities. They support animals, and they have an adoption center, and they support veterans and they support firefighters and police officers, and just the amount of people involved in this nonprofit is mind-boggling.
And
to
the
me.
amount of reach they have and the
Oh my
different
goodness.
things that they do to serve their community is just unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So we did get dropped off at the stables. We got to see the horses. That was very cool. One was painted like the American flag. It was the horse that kicked off the opening ceremonies, which was pretty cool. And we did meet Nick. Nick was a Baker Banter follower. He was very excited to meet you. And then he ended up driving in the car right next to him.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he was in the car right next to you.
Yeah.
So
he was really talking trash to me and Bucky.
Oh, really?
Stopping Nick. We're going to have worse, buddy.
Oh boy.
And as I said, flirting with Bucky's daughter.
Oh,
Nick
you
was
think
flirting?
so?
What?
Okay, well, you were flirting. You kissed her hand when you met her.
Well, to me, when I met her, I had way more good flirt more than Nick.
Okay,
Whatever. So they did have the opening ceremonies. It was quite warm by the time the opening ceremonies were happening. It was like 5 p.m. So it was a little warm, and they were dancing in the sun. And so, of course, Derek did not want to do that.
He tapped out on that.
So he sat in the shade, and luckily...
Did Abby rock out on the dance floor?
Oh, yeah. Abby hit the dance floor. She was there the whole time. But luckily for Sadie and I, Derek found a shady spot right next to the VIP tent, which we weren't really sure if we were allowed to go into or not. And before we learned we weren't supposed to go into the VIP tent, they had, the servers passing out appetizers to the VIPs. And here comes this server with a tray full of lobster rolls. And she offers me these lobster rolls. And I'm like, oh my God, can I please take one for my friend? Because Sadie had been talking all week about trying a lobster roll. And so I grabbed 2 lobster rolls and I hid them behind my back. And I'm like, Sadie, I'm going to record you. And I pull out these lobster rolls and she's like, oh my God, yay. And she had a lobster roll. But it was very good. I did have one as well. I shared a bite with Mom and Derek. It was delicious. We also got a deviled egg from one of the vendors that we weren't supposed to have. Also very delicious. But that's okay. We weren't actually in the tent. We were just near the tent. And as far as I'm concerned, we didn't do anything wrong because they offered it to us. So it's all good. So we did get to see, we went back, we had dinner. There was like this main tent where our food was, where they had like a buffet style food, which the food was very good at the event the whole time. And we ate there. They had big screens in the main tent. The main tent was immaculately air conditioned. Unbelievable how they kept this thing so cold because it was not closed in any capacity. And they had these huge screens. We were watching the polo match.
Wish they could do some of that work in my classroom.
I know. We're watching the polo match. We're trying to get done with our dinner as fast as possible so we can go back out and catch the end of the polo match. The polo match is 4 quarters, but they don't call them quarters. They call them chapters. So that was something that I learned. It's a 4-on-4 match.
Weird.
And so we went back and we did catch the end of the polo match. And then what they did at the end of the polo match, which was super cool, was all the riders actually went around the perimeter and gave high fives to everybody. So you got to high five the polo players, didn't you?
I did. That was really awesome, actually.
That was really awesome. So I was super excited because as soon as we got there, one of the biggest branded areas of the entire event was this McLaren tent. And McLaren is Chris's favorite F1 team. He loves McLaren, and Kyle also loves McLaren. So I was so excited to see this McLaren tent. So I told Mom, I'm like, after the polo match, we got to go over to the McLarens. Like, I want to see the McLarens. That is so cool. Chris is going to think this is awesome. So we go over there, and then we see this car. It is so freaking cool. It is the Miami Formula One car. It was the safety car that they used in the Miami Formula One race. It was like pink and green and beautiful, and it said Formula One, and it was such a cool car. And so I'm like enamored by this car. I'm taking all the pictures of it so I can show Chris and Kyle. And then we go into the McLaren tent, and we, of course, make some friends. Derek did get recognized a fair amount at this event because this event was very disability focused. So a lot of people that knew us were there, which was super cool.
Yeah, that was super cool.
But in the tent, we met Nathan and Chris, and come to find out they were two of the drivers. But before I knew they were drivers of their own cars, I asked them if they could figure out a way to get Derek in a McLaren, because I knew Chris and Kyle would think it was like the coolest thing ever if Derek got to ride in the McLaren. And Nathan was very nice. And he said, I can make that happen. And sure enough.
During the wedding, I'm going to go say something to Chris.
About how you drove in a McLaren and he hasn't?
Hey, Chris, do you know I was driving in my McLaren? Are you jealous?
Oh, my goodness.
People will laugh.
So then Nathan and...
Like we did right now.
Right. So Nathan has been involved for a long time in the event. And he told us in 2016 there was 30 cars and 25 Dream Riders. And in 2024 there was 600 cars and over 500 Dream Riders. So this event has just absolutely like
blown up.
It's so big. So he also told us that there was a $26 million Bugatti on the property. We did find the Bugattis, but we're not sure which one was the really expensive one. But later that night, there was a dance party in the main tent, and we did go in there. Derek did choose to participate then because we were in the cool main tent, which was lovely. And
cool meaning air conditioned.
Yes. And at one point, I went to the bathroom. And of course, when I returned to the bathroom, Sadie's like, oh my God, Jenna, come on. Look. And she points at the stage. There was a DJ on stage. He was incredible. He had a light up electric violin that he would play during songs, which was amazing. But I come back and I look on stage, and what do you know? Who's on there? Derek is on stage. He's the lone Dream Rider on stage. And next thing you know, all these other Dream Riders start joining him on stage. And eventually there's like 30 to 40 of them on stage. And it lasted about 5-10 minutes. And then some of the the Hometown Foundation workers came up and escorted them all off stage. So Derek did start the rebel.
The rogue dance party on stage.
Yes. But Derek had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. We did go back to the hotel after that.
I danced, and probably this young man was just absolutely incredible. Shout out that awesome DJ.
That DJ was very cool.
That DJ had to join America Got Talent.
So Saturday was the main day of the Dream Ride experience. Derek woke up, and in less than one day, he broke his own record on the CPAP. Saturday, he got 8 hours.
Okay, you had to let go that far.
He got 8 hours and 17 minutes on the CPAP Saturday, which was amazing. And
we did record my mom's reaction to that.
We did.
And
did she have a big reaction?
Yep.
Really good, actually. And I told her the bed.
I told him if he got over 8 hours, I'd buy him a pay-per-view, so I owe him one. We'll figure that out later.
Yep.
We'll figure that later. I am so excited.
Okay, so then we did go to the event in the morning, and somehow we ended up in another area that I'm not sure we were supposed to be in, and we got more food that I'm not sure we were supposed to have, but Derek had a donut. I had a piece of fruit. Mom had a piece of fruit. We were grateful for it. It was delicious. But then we walked over. There was supposed to be a firefighter chili cook-off going on, but unfortunately by the time we got there they weren't ready yet, and we didn't want to stay at the event all day long. We wanted to go in the morning when we were supposed to, get a break, and then go back. So we didn't get to participate in the firefighter cook-off because we had to catch our bus at noon. So then we did go back. We got a Philly cheesesteak from a food truck.
Delicious for lunch.
So good.
Oh my God.
And we took that back to the McLaren tent because Nathan texted me and told us to meet him at the McLaren tent because he wanted to introduce Derek to his driver.
His name is Bucky.
And what did you think about Bucky?
You know, Bucky is a credible man. He's definitely got that soft spot for me. And he was fun. Like, beyond on that stream ride theme with him, oh my God, he's got one old good heart, and I love him for that.
He kept calling him old. I'm like, will you stop calling this man old? He's not that old.
How old was he?
Like
probably
in his 60s.
older
like-
older my dad.
Yeah, older than dad, but like he wasn't
80.
80.
Anyway.
Anyways,
It was older.
so Derek, I got to tell you, Bucky
To my
texted me
dad.
today.
What are you saying?
He said, just wanted to drop you and your family, especially Derek, my new friend, many thanks for making my Dream Ride 24 a wonderful experience.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I said, thank you so much. Derek had an amazing time with you. And I asked for his address because, of course, Mom's going to send him a thank you note because that's what she does.
I've already written it.
And he said, we have been laughing and reminiscing ever since. And I'm assuming he means him and his wife and his daughter because they were both there. And we did get to meet them. And they just had a great time. And
There's a reason I love this man.
and he did say, you tell my friend he made me smile.
Yeah, he was very nice.
So he was very, very nice.
Oh my God, I'm with Derek right now.
And he did get to take Derek in the McLaren, which was super cool.
Convertible
We
McLaren.
walked up to the cars, and what did you do, Derek?
He sat on the car. We were like, no!
I'm like, oh my God, get off the car, get off the car.
Some of these cars are these McLarens, $400,000 cars.
I'm like, Mom's like, thank goodness he didn't have like jeans on with like a button on the back of his pants or something.
That would have scratched. He was just in gym
Yeah,
shorts.
and Bucky's like, get off the car, get off the car, get off the car. And I'm like, oh my God, Derek, I told you yesterday, don't sit on the cars.
Yeah,
like they're
well, we
not
didn't
for sitting.
We didn't reply. We should
didn't
have
repeat
reminded
it.
him.
Yeah. But it was very cool. Mom and I walked over to where the ride was going to start. The police officers started the ride. It took, how long did it take for those cars to get out of there?
I think it was probably about 40 to 45 minutes for all of the cars to leave.
And by the time the last car was leaving, the first car was coming back.
arriving. And then the kids hopped out of the cars and walked in a red carpet all the way into the main tent.
And
I say kids, the Dream
Dream
Riders.
Riders.
Some of them were adults.
Yeah. And then the people attending the event lined both sides of the red carpet, and they just got to like high five everybody on the way down. And it was very moving. It was very cool. Derek was one of the first 20 cars to leave. And I actually like missed the shot getting him going out, and I was really pissed about it. I did get the back of his head, but I didn't get the front of his head, which I was pissed. But he couldn't hear us anyways. I was trying to yell at him, and he like had no clue we were standing there.
He was vlogging in the car, so
did
I'm
vlog the
excited
car.
to see that.
Actually, I did put you and Mom on the vlog.
Oh, you think
thank
so?
you.
But so then he gets to the red carpet, and he just had the biggest grin on his face when him and Bucky got back. And I immediately go over there, grab the vlog camera from him. I'm recording him and whatever. And then they're supposed to get announced as they walk down the red carpet. Well,
Say where they're from. Derek Baker from St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah. Well, Derek was just so freaking excited. He just skipped the line of people waiting to get their names announced and just goes sprinting. Like, I've never seen this boy run like this. Sprinting down the red carpet, high-fiving everybody.
Let me do this. Introducing from St. Louis, Missouri, Derek Baker, and running like a maniac.
Yeah, but there was no introduction. He just went sprinting down the carpet.
And because of that, I'm in the main tent to get him in the inside, right? And hold a table for us to sit at when Jenna and Sadie and Derek and Abby get back. And I can hear all the announcements. Well, they never said his name. So then all of a sudden he's in front of me. And I'm like, well, like I'd never heard his name. How did that happen? Right. I got a little bit of a video of him running in. But there was a gentleman that was a couple people over, and I was like, oh my God, I missed him. And he came over. He's like, oh, I got several shots of him. He took pictures of him. And so he airdropped like 5 pictures
that's
of
the
him.
picture you saw.
Yeah,
of
that
Derek
was taken by
smiling so big,
somebody else.
running down the carpet.
But it was just so
I got so excited I did not hear my name called, and
That's because it wasn't.
Yeah. So these Dream Riders were so excited, and
No,
you could just see
do
the
over.
joy on every single one of their faces. And it overwhelmed me. By like halfway through the thing, I'm literally standing there just in tears because I was just so happy about what had happened for him and all of these other people, and how the joy that all of these people had was just completely overwhelmed me. It was amazing.
Definitely an experience that these people never forget, and they probably don't get to feel that way in their lives often, to feel that, that
much like a
celebrated.
superstar. His shirt says "Party like a rock star." Show your shirt.
yeah, it's just amazing the way this event just
celebrates all of these dream riders. Yeah. It was so cool.
And from all walks of life, from all ages. And it was just amazing.
all, I think they said
23 countries.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. And while Mom's crying, one of the main production guys standing right in front of her. And he kind of turned and I noticed that he had started recording Mom, and I yelled at her. I'm like, Mom, tell him how you're feeling. And she right into the camera just gave him this perfect sound bite. And I'm like, you're welcome.
I mean, I just was overwhelmed,
rolling down her face. But so then
it was so amazing.
Sadie and I finally connect because we had talked about meeting on the opposite end of the world. And luckily I was able to get a hold of her and called her, and I'm like, meet us in the main tent. And we connect, and she's like, you're not going to believe which car Abby got in. And we're like, which one? The Formula One car that I was obsessed over the day before.
It was beautiful.
I'm like, you're kidding.
It was amazing.
So I had to get it for the vlog. So I go out there and we wait for Abby. And then we saw Abby get out of the car. We saw her come back, and we go back inside to wait for her to come down the red carpet. And we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting. And Mom's like, are you sure she went out there? Are you sure you saw her? And I'm like, yeah, we definitely saw her. Where is she? Well, at that point, this line had formed so that all the people could get their names said out loud. And so finally Abby comes and she gets her name called, but it took a really long time from when she got out of the car to when she came down the red carpet. So at that point I say to him, I'm like, Derek, you didn't get your name called. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, well, you ran past it so fast that they didn't realize. And so he's like, let's go. So we went back out, and that's when I saw Christy again. And there was a very long line, and Derek did cut it, and he got in the front of it, and he
said, screw it, I'm getting this line, and I want.
And luckily,
say my name.
Luckily, the gal he got in front of didn't mind, and so then he goes, and then there was the announcer, and then there was the president of the nonprofit, and the president of the nonprofit knew who he was and was like, oh wait, this is our social media star. We invited him from social media, and he is famous. And what's your channel called, buddy? And he's like, Baker Banter. And then they announce him, Derek Baker. And at first the guy was going to let him go without his name being announced again. And I'm like, no, wait, can you please announce his name? Because he wanted to hear his name being announced. And then unfortunately that time he wasn't able to run down the red carpet like he wanted to, because there were people in front of him that were not running. So he had to take it a little slower that time, but that made it so that I could get the shot a lot easier. But yeah. Afterward, I asked Derek, I'm like, Derek, how fast did your car go? And he says, oh, very fast. And I said, how fast? And he said, I think 25.
I don't think it's that fast.
Maybe 125.
So funny. So then at the end of the night, we're leaving. We're headed to the bus. And on the way out, we see this vendor who has all these banners lined up. And luckily, the son of the vendor recognized Derek. And I guess Derek was the first one out. So he had been talking to him for a few minutes. And this guy was a wrestling fan. And he was so excited to see Derek. And his dad tells me that the day before he had seen us from afar. And he couldn't believe we were there. But he didn't want to run up to us and bombard us. So he's like, I really hope he comes by. I want to get to say hi to him. He was so excited to see Derek. And then Derek saw something that he said he thought was so cool. So anyways, let me make sure it's right side up. Okay. So they had banners, authentic banners that they were selling. And they gave Derek this one for free.
And we thought it was maybe a couple $100, but the security guard near us told us she heard they were selling some of them for $2,500.
Remember the hat, Katie.
Derek tried to get a second one for you.
Yeah, he did. And we told him, don't ask for more. Stop it.
This is okay. We can share.
It's a family heirloom.
I really like my hat.
Yeah.
Well, Gibby, she likes the hat better than this.
Okay.
It's super cool. They have a lot of cool banners.
Let's give it to Jack. We can roll it back up after. Or you got it.
Pretty quick.
All right. You're fast. So that was very cool. Then we left. Derek got a beer in the hotel lobby, went up to watch wrestling, and Sadie and Abby and Mom and I had a drink down in the lobby. And then the last morning, Sunday was very chill, but we were at the event for a handful more hours. There was like a pet adoption thing going on. We did get to see one dog that was adopted into his forever home, and we saw the moment happening, and the dog was so excited, and the people were so excited. It was very sweet.
We met Kate and her mom, and they have a nonprofit in the area that keeps dogs in their homes. So if the family's struggling and they need help, so they don't have to give the dog away, they help provide food or medical care or whatever. So, and Kate follows us on the socials, and that was super cool to meet her and her mom.
We did get coffee at a food truck in the morning, and I ordered Derek a latte, and I thought I was ordering a hot latte, and turns out they gave me an iced latte. And I told Sadie, I said, oh, Derek only likes hot coffee. But there was a huge line, and they were quite slow, so I wasn't going to ask him to remake it. And I was like, we'll just see what he says. And so they come over and they meet us, and I just kind of put the coffee in where he was going to sit. I didn't really say anything about it. And a few minutes later, Derek goes, "This is not hot, by the way."
I did point that out.
I'm like, yes, I know. And Sadie just started cracking up. I was like, I told you he was going to notice.
I did notice it.
And then he took a drink and he said, you know what? This is good. And he finished it in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
He downed it.
Hey, well, you can drink iced coffee a lot faster than that scalding hot shit you like.
I know. So then we looked at a bunch of cool old cars. There was cars there from 1911, 1962, like cars like I've never seen
2011,
before.
2010, 2013.
It was very cool. At the end of the day, they did announce that
way before wrestling was a jet.
At the end of the day, they did announce that they raised $7 million for the Hometown Foundation this weekend.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Take grass for that, by the way.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Absolutely
That's awesome.
amazing. Thank you so much for having us. We went back to the hotel. We had dinner with Sadie and Abby that night. I found a Mexican restaurant. We did get recognized at the Mexican restaurant, and the gentleman who recognized us told us it was his favorite restaurant in the city that we were having dinner at. It was very good.
And
very good.
I was watching All In.
Yep, he watched AEW All In on his phone.
So then at dinner on the last night, the very first night when we had dinner with Sadie and Abby, there was this other woman who was at our table as well. But she didn't have a person with her. Like, she didn't have a dream writer. And she told us some story about how she was with a nonprofit who was hoping to get involved with this nonprofit. So she was at this event to like scout it out basically and like take notes kind of thing, whatever. We believed her story. We didn't have any reason not to. It was her first night there. And Sadie tells us on the last night that turns out she was not a part of our group. And she just like inserted herself and hung out with them for a day and a half. And she went to lunch at Applebee's the next day as well, because after the dinner, they announced like, okay, you need to be in the lobby at this time for this event. And then we're going to the zoo and we're doing that. So she went to Applebee's with us the next day.
And the zoo.
And at the zoo, they realized that she was like, had
latched
tagged
on
along
to this,
and was not with us, and they left her at the zoo. And I have no idea.
And she told us she was from California. It was very bizarre.
I'm like, I was telling Mom, I'm like, I hope we didn't give her enough personal information. She's some crazy wacko weirdo. That's crazy.
I hope Sadie did not come with us to today's show and send me upstairs with Jenna Ortega.
Well, no. Okay, but first of all, it wasn't Sadie that was the weirdo. Sadie was our friend. But I don't remember that woman's name, but she definitely didn't come to the Today Show with us.
Her name was Maria.
Oh, there you go. It was so strange. It was bizarre.
So but anyway.
Okay. So, yeah, we absolutely had an amazing week with the Hometown Foundation. The Dream Ride experience is unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's so impressive and so amazing. And it sounds like a lot of people go back year after year, and they were like, we hope to see you next year. So I'm like, yeah, absolutely. We hope to see you next year.
I want to shout out Michelle, Alicia, Beth,
Jen, Christy, Carla,
Kayla, and Dulce. You ladies are incredible. Thank you so very, very much.
Yes. And shout out to Sadie and Abby, friends for life. We had the best week hanging out with them all week.
I got Sadie's Snapchat and her number safety with Abby.
Yep.
Never Snapchat. That was okay.
Abby doesn't have a Snapchat, but that's okay. But yeah, so then we did wake up. It was time to go. We had another SUV ride to LaGuardia. Unfortunately,
you're missing something.
Oh, no. Unfortunately, we did wake up and Mom was not happy.
It was so hot in our room. Our air went off in the middle of the night in the hotel. Oh my God. But
Mom was not
they
pleased.
saved us. The guy finally came up from the front desk. He was the only one there. He found me a fan, and then he jacked around with the system long enough and got it to turn on. It was hot in that room.
She was like, it was at 78. And I was like, you keep our house at 78, you crazy psychopath woman.
That's so valid.
It was hot like
hot.
balls in that hotel room.
It was not that hot, Derek. You weren't even hot, bro. You hadn't moved out of your bed.
I'd like to say my class is probably hotter.
It probably is.
It
But
wasn't
was
that hot, and Mom's behavior about how hot it was definitely making her hotter.
I had that.
She was pissed.
I was not happy. Anyways,
When I had that CPAP Max on, I was like, what is happening? Why you have to get it so freaking hot in here?
it was hot.
Yeah, so then we did we had a yummy lunch at the airport. It was kind of funny because I was coming out of the bathroom at the airport, and this girl like definitely saw me, and she like immediately, as soon as she saw me, she turned around and ran. And I like got nervous, like I did something, and she like runs up to her friend, and I'm walking right past her.
Hit her?
No, I didn't touch her. Like I saw her. She was like probably 6 feet in front of me.
Did you hit her?
As soon as she saw me, she turned around and ran away. And I was like, that was weird. And she ran over to her friend, and I'm like walking right past her, and I hear her go, "Oh my God, it is him. That's his sister." So I guess because Derek was sitting out there by himself waiting for Mom and I to come back from the bathroom. And so I guess she had seen him and like questioned, maybe is it him? I don't know. And then she saw me and she's like, oh my God, it's him. But they never came and said hi. And so I went over to Derek. I'm like, did somebody come say hi to you? And he's like, nope. And I'm like, okay. And then I sat there, and Mom was in line getting Starbucks. And I saw her come out of the bathroom, and I saw her whispering with her friend, and I saw them staring at us, and they never came and said hi. And I was like, well, I'm not
Whoever
gonna...
you are.
Hello.
Hi.
They did
Why
have...
Why are you so shy?
Shy, and why are you stalking us?
Why
They
are you
were not
so
stalking us.
obsessed with me?
They weren't stalking us. The girl, I don't know if they're from
It
Oregon.
was creepy.
Oh, it was fine. The girl,
Really?
the one girl was
She
holding...
saw me. She ran off. Saw you ran off. So sounds like
It's just funny. It's just, if you ever see us in person, like, just say hi. It's okay. Like, it's not a big deal. But if you do that, we definitely know. Like, we're definitely aware. But the girl she was with was holding an Oregon Ducks blanket. So I don't know if they're from Oregon, but she was holding a blanket that said the Oregon Ducks on it. But yeah, so that is all that's our whole trip. It was needed 2 podcasts because we had so much fun. We had so many things that we experienced. First time in New York City, absolutely amazing. We are so grateful. I can't even express in words how thankful we are to our new friends at the Hometown Foundation. I truly do hope that we get to be a part of this again someday. It was absolutely amazing.
Same, Jenna. Same.
Unbelievable experience. I'm so grateful.
Can I say something real quick?
You say it. Wrap it up, and then let's say goodbye.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say the whole Today Show thing was incredible. I'd like to continue with the friendship with Today Show, and I think it's freaking awesome for that. And I am so thankful to see Hoda. She's wonderful person.
Okay, we talked about the Today Show last week. Let's wrap it up with the Hometown Foundation.
No, it's just that we're hoping to see Jenna Ortega on this podcast. We're hoping for that, so hopefully we can.
How about a thank you to the Hometown Foundation, please?
Be friends with her as well. Plus, the last shout out goes to that profit
Hometown Foundation.
Foundation. What a show. What a week. It's been a blast. The stream ride was one hell of a good ride. So thank you for that. So shout out to all 3 today's show is Jenna Ortega and basically the new prophet as well.
Yes,
Hometown Foundation.
The work they do is incredible. The people they impact, it's amazing to see, to be a part of. Another shout out to Bucky.
Shout out to you, Bucky.
Had an amazing time driving with him.
Amazing time with you, buddy.
But that is all we have time for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope you follow the Hometown Foundation, follow the Dream Ride Experience, check out the things that they are doing because it is super, super cool. And we are so grateful. But find us on all the platforms at bakerbanter. Follow Derek on Snapchat to hear his wrestling recaps, see what he eats every day. BakerBanter. Find us on Cameo at BakerBanter. I've got my Etsy store at the link in our bio. Our BakerBanter merch is at the
Halloween stuff.
I do have Halloween stuff. I have some Chiefs, Taylor Swift inspired merch. I've got all sorts of stuff on there. I'm going to be adding more soon too. Check us out on all the platforms. Like, share, subscribe, and we will talk to you on Thursday. Peace.
Don't forget to go to church, bitch.
Oh my God.